Today, a judge sentenced the mother and grandmother charged in connection with the death of 10-year-old Braxtyn Smith. They both pleaded guilty to manslaughter. News CENTER Maine's Brianna Bush has more from the Penobscot County Court.
Jem Bean and Misty LaTourette, both sentenced to 10 years behind bars for their role in the death of 10-year-old Braxtyn Smith. Both Bean, the boy's mother, and LaTourette, the boy's grandmother, pleaded guilty to manslaughter after previously being charged with depraved indifference murder. Prosecutors say Smith endured 2 years of abuse, and it went unnoticed because he was homeschooled and socially isolated. They also say he ultimately died due to blunt force injuries and battered child syndrome. Bean spoke before a judge in court Friday prior to the sentencing, expressing remorse for the role she played in her son's death.
I'm so sorry that he's gone, and I wish more than anything that I could go back and do everything over. I miss both my children, and I will have to live with this guilt and sorrow. My apologies also to my parents. I didn't realize now how much they've been hurt through all of this.
The judge in court on Friday described the case as horrendous, but said Bean did attempt to intervene in the abuse he endured in the home. Later Friday afternoon, LaTourette says she accepts all responsibility for her part in her grandson's death as she cried as her sentence was delivered. The boy's father, Joshua Smith, pleaded guilty to depraved indifference murder. His sentencing hearing is expected to be in late September. In Bangor, Brianna Bush, News CENTER Maine.
As part of the sentencing, both Bean and LaTourette were ordered to have no contact with Bean's biological daughter or the child's adoptive family. Bean will serve six years of probation. LaTourette will serve 4. A child has died following a crash in Hancock County. State police say this happened yesterday in Township 22. We are told the driver missed a stop sign and then crashed into an embankment. Police say a 5-year-old boy died at that scene. A 10-month-old was taken to the hospital but is expected to survive. Police say the driver was the father of the children. There is no word yet on whether he will face charges. State police, though, say neither child was properly buckled into that vehicle. The federal government now looking into a claim of discrimination involving a disabled Falmouth teenager with serious medical needs. He missed an entire school year over a transfer to another school. Here's News CENTER Maine's Vivian Lee.
Oh, I know, I love you. He loves cuddles.
Alex Badmayev was diagnosed with boring opiate syndrome in 2014, an ultra-rare condition caused by a new gene mutation affecting human development. Now 15, he has developmental delays, cannot speak, and relies on medical specialists for nearly every aspect of his care.
Can we read a book together?
For the past year, his classroom at school has been replaced by this open space at home with swings, sensory toys, musical instruments, and an interactive TV.
It's been frustrating that has taken away from Alex and his development. It's been like catastrophic harm.
Alex's mom, Laura, says he missed an entire school year after the Maine Department of Education told the Falmouth School District to move Alex from the Falmouth Elementary School, where he had been thriving, to Falmouth High School without a safe, accessible transition plan. She says the Maine DOE used a 5-year age span rule to justify the move.
The DOE didn't talk to us. They had no data. There was no documentation, no observation. It was like a mechanical, like, he's too old, he needs to move to this other school.
The family tried to get an extension but were unsuccessful. As a result, Alex stayed home and missed school, the majority of his therapies like speech and OT and other critical services under his Individualized Education Program, or IEP. Since then, Alex has lost mobility, feeding skills, and other abilities, leading to kidney stones and other health problems.
He was like in and out of the hospital all the time, massive regressions on so many fronts.
Earlier this month, the Maine DOE approved the family's 3rd request, allowing Alex to return to the elementary school for the last few days of the school year and summer school. But Laura says it's too little, too late. After filing a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, Laura was notified that an investigation was underway.
Our kids deserve a system that works for them, for their safety, for their dignity. This is George.
The family will begin mediation with the Maine DOE and Falmouth School District officials next week, hoping Alex will receive an out-of-district placement at a school that meets his needs. In Falmouth, Vivian Lee, News Center, Maine.
We are waiting for the Falmouth School District to respond to our request for a comment, and the Maine Department of Education says it's unable to discuss any specific student's plan. You can read the department's full statement on newscentermaine.com. A candle is believed to be the cause of this fire in Fort Kent. The state fire marshal's office says this started Wednesday at Mel's gas station. There are 2 apartments on the 2nd floor there. Investigators say 3 people were displaced because of the flames. The Red Cross is helping them. Fire marshal's office with a reminder to everyone to put out any burning candles before leaving a room or going to sleep. The Saco Fire Department is launching a new program to help crews keep residents safe. They say that's thanks now to some grant funding from AARP, which just awarded the agency $5,000. Saco Fire will now launch a Knox Box program. Residents can request a box to allow the fire department access to a house key, and that will prevent crews from forcing entry when there's an emergency. AARP says it chose 750 of the $5,000 grant applications from across the country. Also receiving some AARP funding, a traffic calming project out of Portland. The Munjoy Hill and India Street Neighborhood Association say they've received $10,000 to help slow vehicles down at 6 busy intersections. It's part of an ongoing effort to minimize pedestrian deaths around the city. We are told the money will help install barriers, bike racks, and paint to those intersections. All right, you may not think of an e-bike as creating a safety concern. When we come back tonight, though, we are learning what hazards they do pose and what you can do if you're on one this summer. This time of year, more people are outside using electric bikes or e-bikes. So now safety officials have some reminders about the rules of those. Maine law divides e-bikes into 3 classes based on speed and motor type. And police say some e-bikes are now being modified to go faster than legal limits allow, which can change how the vehicle is classified under state law. Officials we spoke with explain why speed is a concern.
With brakes?
If you're not used to it and you give it the boost of power, it can knock you off balance. You can find it difficult to stop.
One of the biggest concerns we have is that, they can move at the speed of a motorcycle, and that means there's a increased stopping distance.
If you are unsure, you can visit the Bicycle Coalition of Maine's website to see how your bike is classified. When we come back tonight, we are hearing from park officials about what safety precautions hikers should remember following a rescue on Katahdin this week. And then
I don't fully understand why there is not a contract. I think it's unacceptable there is not a contract.
Democrats in key state races this November speaking to labor unions today. It's coming up after Ryan's full forecast.
And Brian, most of us are in pretty good shape this evening. There are a couple of clusters of storms we're watching, the ones in southern New Hampshire missing us to the south, but there is one thunderstorm that's rolling right through the Litchfield area. Gardner, you're up next. Little thunder, lightning, and heavy rain, but it's not severe, meaning it's not producing damaging wind gusts or hail. And we have a lot of rain headed through Pittsfield, Carmel, and Bangor with a little lightning in there as well. Looking dark over Bangor at the moment, too. Full weekend forecast right after this. Stay with us.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I literally pressed my power button and then it just closed.
Are we in a break right now? Is that why you can't hear? Okay.
Yeah, we just went to break and you'll...
Hi, Sarah. Okay, yes, I can hear you now. Right.
Well, check out this video. 2 climbers safe now after this rescue off Katahdin. Video from the Maine National Guard shows that helicopter at the mountain this week. Officials say the 2 were saved yesterday after being stranded when thunder and lightning started Wednesday. Baxter State Park says hikers should always be prepared to shelter in place for at least 24 hours due to the demanding terrain.
And Brian, we've been in a pattern where we've had a lot of these pop-up showers over mountains.
And that's the perfect
Always a
example
challenge.
of what can happen there. Because
Yeah,
you start a
both-
beautiful day like today.
Right, and both tomorrow and Sunday, that could be repeated too. Probably not as much thunder and lightning, but
Okay.
something to be aware of for hikers.
Always be mindful.
That's for sure. I think we're in pretty good shape for the rest of the evening.
Great.
So that's good. We had a fair amount of sun that broke out, but we had this sea breeze that kind of stabilized things near the coastline. But where it did get warmer and more humid in New Hampshire, there are a couple of severe thunderstorms in that area. Around here, though, most areas dry. We have one thunderstorm that's going through Litchfield and Gardner, but that one's weakening. So it's really just turning into a shower. Another area here coming along 95 into Bangor, it's really just some moderate rain at this point. There might be a few claps of thunder with that, but it's certainly not severe. It's heading into cool air in down East Maine, only 59 in Bar Harbor. You can see where we really did warm up, though, York County into southern New Hampshire. It is a little more humid there, too. Dew points in the mid-60s. It'll be sticky tonight and sticky at times over the weekend, but it's really not until next week that we get into much more humid air. This area of high pressure doesn't come in quickly, and that's why this weekend's not going to be perfectly sunny, but it will be mainly dry. Maybe just a chance for a shower or two. So the showers out there this evening will be drying up. We will have areas of fog that form tonight, though. I think it's a gray start early tomorrow morning at the coast. That fog will lift and thin, though. It's partly sunny tomorrow with, again, these pop-up showers, a lot of them over the terrain. And in most cases, it's just a sprinkle farther south. A lot of the time tomorrow will be dry, temps in the low to mid 70s. And we do get a bit of a sea breeze, so the coast probably cools back a little bit late in the day. Fog looks to reform tomorrow night into Sunday morning. So again, at the coast, you might have some fog early on, but that should fade away, and we have more sunshine on the way Sunday. I think it's a few degrees warmer, too. 75 to 80 in most spots on Sunday afternoon, with a somewhat higher chance of a shower or rumble of thunder, particularly in central, eastern, and northern Maine on Sunday. To the south, better chance that we stay dry. Next week's weather pattern is something, especially in the middle of the country. A big heat ridge will be forming out here, and it'll be several days in the 90s, like headline making heat out there. To start next week, we're kind of on the edge of the warmth, and as a result, we may get an occasional disturbance or two that produces some showers and storms, but a lot of the time next week will be dry. It's just summertime stuff. We'll start to increase the humidity, and then it looks like we may get into this heat for a day or two late next week. We have the potential to be up around 90 degrees late next week. Here's a look at the dew point trend. Again, sticky the next few days. Then we increase the humidity, and followed by that, we'll be increasing the heat late next week. Seas 1 to 3 feet tomorrow with a north wind 5 knots becoming southerly. Be aware this weekend on the water, fog may be an ongoing issue. Even during the afternoons, there may be some fog banks offshore. So there's your weekend, partly sunny both days, just a chance for a pop-up shower, maybe a somewhat higher chance on Sunday, mostly sunny on Monday, little sticky, and then we turn more humid middle of the week, and we make a run toward 90, I think, Brian, on Thursday.
We've been waiting for a week like that.
It's coming, summer.
All right, Ryan, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the Drive for Kids Celebrity Golf Tournament is happening right now in Falmouth. Our Dana Osgood joining us live from the course. Let us know about those weather conditions there. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Brian. Yes, I am currently at the Falmouth Country Club here for the Drive for Kids, which benefits both the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital and the Dempsey Center. So it was raining here earlier in the day, but as you can tell now, the sun is shining. It's a little bit sticky, but not too hot, so not a bad day for golf. We have been tracking some thunderstorms, some stronger thunderstorms in areas of New Hampshire, but the sea breeze here has been able to hold off most of those. However, there is a thunderstorm about 18 to 20 miles away, closer to Sebago Lake, that is bringing some precipitation there. So people here did bring in some of the fans off the course because of the threat of that storm. It's not really going to be coming into this area. They just wanted to exercise that caution. And as we get into the day tomorrow, most of us will be seeing a mixture of sun and clouds. We have a little graphic to show you guys. There could be a pop-up shower in the afternoon, but not everyone is going to see one of those showers or thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, we'll be getting into the mid to upper 70s, and it might be a little bit sticky, but not very humid. The Drive for Kids Celebrity Golf Tournament is today, but the tournament as a whole continues throughout the weekend. I'll send things back to you guys in the studio from the Falmouth Country Club.
All right, Dana, live for us in Falmouth tonight. Dana, thanks so much. Members of Maine's labor unions questioning some of the Democrats headed to the ballot this November in several state races. News on Maine's Christian Harsa has more.
And Pingree, our next governor.
And Matt Dunlap, who Democrats hope is Maine's next congressman in the 2nd Congressional District.
I'm really proud to stand here today.
Until last week's results, Troy Jackson was the union favorite for governor. No longer in the running, Jackson introduced Pingree with his support.
She was always there voting for the issues that are important, standing up.
She just knows, what we need.
Behind the support of Southern Maine Labor Council's Pat McKean is confidence that even if Pingree wasn't #1 a week ago, she is now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hannah will do a good job.
So my question is,
for Hannah Pingree, about the ongoing deadlock between the state and its employees over pay raises.
Don't fully understand why there is not a contract. I think it's unacceptable there is not a contract.
And vowing to build a partnership between the governor and state employees.
So I would just like to hear.
Dunlap also in the hot seat, questioned about federal laborers.
What the president has done, removing the right to collective bargaining from a lot of the unions in these situations is criminal in my view.
This was Dunlap's first appearance since he leapfrogged from 3rd place to a primary victory. Now he faces off against former Governor Paul LePage.
Really what we have to focus on is less on what other people have done in the past and more on what we're going to do in the future.
A future that labor unions hope they have a say in, both in the State House and in Washington. In Auburn, Christian Harsa, News Center, Maine.
And today, Republican candidate for Governor Bobby Charles challenged Pingree and independent Rick Bennett to avoid taking lobbyist money. At the State House today, Charles said he will not accept money from lobbyists in Augusta, AI data centers, or Central Maine Power, and that he's putting it up to Rick Bennett and Hannah Pingree to do the same.
It is not a difficult decision because I do not answer to Augusta lobbyists. I do not answer to CMP. I answer to one group of people because I am those people. I answer to the people of Maine.
Pingree today called Charles' challenge a distraction from the issues that matter to voters and said she is not taking private money or funds from CMP. We have reached out to the Bennett campaign a number of times today and have not yet heard back. A special celebration for the YMCA Center in the Bath area. We'll tell you about the major milestone and how you can join in on the fun next. Time to celebrate this weekend. The Bath YMCA celebrating 170 years this weekend. So tomorrow you're invited to join in on their festivities. It's between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. It's all happening at the Center Street location in Bath. There will be food trucks, games, Slugger the Sea Dog even making a stop by. The Bath YMCA says it serves 7,000 active members across 2 branches there, and it is one of the oldest locations in New England.
170,
right?
That's wild.
What a run.
Yeah.
Congratulations to that. All right, I know we're nearing the end of this time window you were keeping an eye on tonight.
Definitely, yeah. A few showers and rumbles still out there, but most of the action is weakening. Southern New Hampshire getting the most at this point. I think it's a pretty good weekend, Brian, especially for outdoor plans like that, because it's going to be warm and not all that humid.
Okay,
yeah.
Just the right amount of warm.
Right.
To wrap up the last week of June already.
Wild.
Summer is here.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. Have a great night.
Coming up on New Center Maine at 6:30, a former Trump administration official pleading guilty in federal court today. The details of John Bolton's case and more on his sentencing. Plus, summer is here and the popularity of e-bikes is once again on the rise. We'll have some tips to stay safe. Plus, the story behind last night's Moody performance in Boston's TD Garden and the images that capture it. All that and more now on New Center Maine at 6:30. Thanks for joining us at 6:30. I'm Bailey Cornick and Ryan Breton is with me. It's
nice to be with you.
It's like we're kicking it old school.
I know. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It turned into a little bit of a more pleasant day than I was first expecting.
Well, it's interesting. So we had all that rain this morning and it was
Yeah.
downpouring at times.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like some places very quickly cleared out. And usually in the summertime, we'd then be really concerned about thunderstorms. But because we had a wind off the ocean today, that kind of helped put a cap on things.
Right.
So ocean's still cold. Thunderstorms don't like cold air, that's for sure.
Still a polar plunge for some people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We did have one severe thunderstorm warning in Maine earlier this afternoon that was up around Bethel, Newry, the Oxford Hills area. Haven't seen any reports of damage, which is good. But over in New Hampshire, there is still a severe thunderstorm warning right around Manchester, and that thunderstorm has a history of producing wind gusts to perhaps 70 miles per hour and some hail. Fortunately, though, all that stuff is staying to our south, and what's left here in Maine, really just a few showers and downpours at this point. There was one around Sebago Lake that's starting to break up a little bit. Looks like there might be a little rain around Naples. And then Lewiston, you're dry, Portland's dry, the Casco Bay area dry. One thunderstorm that is weakening now, moving through Litchfield and Gardner. There was some lightning with that about an hour ago when it went through Wales and around some of the lakes there. We'll take you to Bangor. You're getting a downpour in the city now, but there is really not much of any lightning. Maybe a couple strikes, but that has weakened considerably. It's really just a few rain showers that are sliding through there now. If you have plans this evening, keep an eye on the radar. You might catch a shower, especially in eastern Maine, but I think to the south, most places will be pretty dry through the rest of the evening. Temps mainly in the 60s, but down east Maine much cooler, only in the 50s, while to the west, where those thunderstorms did pop up, warmer and also more humid out that way. So through this evening, again, a few showers continue, but I think most areas are going to start drying out. And then overnight tonight, we will have some areas of fog that form, and some of that fog could be dense first thing tomorrow morning, especially near the coastline. So if you're up at like 6 or 7 in the morning, some of that fog may be dense, especially right at the water's edge. But it should lift and thin. We turn partly sunny tomorrow. Temps get back into the low and mid 70s. And then there's a chance for a pop-up shower tomorrow afternoon. And Bailey, I think both days this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, there's a small risk you get a sprinkle or a shower. But almost all the time it's going to be dry.
Definitely not a washout.
No, definitely not. And I think it's a pretty good weekend in that it's not that hot and it's also not that humid. So for things other than just going to the lake or the beach, like it'll be good to do those.
Enjoy it now before what, like Thursday, Friday of next week?
Yeah, we have some real heat that looks like it's going to come back, and we'll talk about that coming up.
Yes, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, take a look at this. Thunderstorms leading to a rescue on Katahdin. Maine National Guardsmen went out early yesterday morning to rescue 2 climbers. The storms had the hikers stranded on the mountain since Wednesday. Baxter State Park wants people to know that terrain along many routes within the park can be demanding. And the Maine National Guard recommends that all hikers come prepared to rough it in the wilderness for at least 24 hours, even if they don't expect bad weather. A 5-year-old is dead after a crash in Hancock County last night. It happened at the intersection of Route 9 and Route 193 in Township 22. Officers say the boy's dad was driving the car and missed a stop sign, crashing into an embankment. Troopers got to the scene around 11:30 last night. There they found the 5-year-old boy dead. His dad and baby sister were hurt. They were taken to the hospital where they're expected to recover. Route 9 was closed for several hours. It's believed the kids were not properly seat belted, but the investigation is ongoing. After a scary situation at a restaurant in Portland last week, a Westbrook man has been arrested. Police say Ken Muco walked into the restaurant last Friday holding a Molotov cocktail and carrying a gun. He then reportedly lit the Molotov cocktail and started threatening patrons and staff with the gun. He was identified and arrested on Tuesday. Investigators also searched his home and found additional evidence, including the gun he's believed to have had at the scene. Muco is facing several serious charges, including attempted arson. And today, a judge sentenced a mother and grandmother for their role in the death of 10-year-old Braxtyn Smith. They both pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Jem Bean, the boy's mother, and Misty LaTourette, his grandmother, will both serve 10 years. Officials say Smith's cause of death was blunt force injuries and battered child syndrome. Prosecutors say for 2 years, Smith was abused, and it went unnoticed because he was homeschooled and socially isolated. Bean spoke before a judge in court today prior to the sentencing, expressing remorse for the role she played in her son's death.
I'm so sorry that he's gone, and I wish more than anything that I could go back and do everything over. I miss both my children, and I will have to live with this guilt and sorrow. My apologies also to my parents. I didn't realize how much they've been hurt through all of this.
2 of the 3 family members convicted in Braxton's death have now been sentenced. The boy's father, Joshua Smith, is expected to be sentenced in late September. Federal civil rights officials are investigating discrimination claims involving moving a disabled teen from Falmouth with serious medical needs to another school. Alex Badmayev has a rare neurodevelopmental disorder. The 15-year-old has severe developmental delays, cannot speak, and has other medical issues. Alex's mom, Laura, says he regressed in skills and medical issues after missing an entire school year. Last May, she alleges the Maine Department of Education told the Falmouth School District to move Alex from Falmouth Elementary School to Falmouth High School without a safe, accessible transition plan. She says the Maine DOE used a special education 5-year age span rule to justify the move. Alex's mom filed a discrimination complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. She was just notified that an investigation is underway.
The DOE didn't talk to us. They had no data. There was no documentation, no observation. It was like a mechanical, like, he's too old, he needs to move to this other school.
We have reached out to the Falmouth School District for comment, but have not heard back. A Maine Department of Education spokesperson says the department cannot discuss any specific student's plan. You can read the full statement in the new CENTER Maine app. Democrats Hannah Pingree and Matt Dunlap spoke before union workers in Auburn today as part of the Maine AFL-CIO's political engagement convention. After ranked choice voting tabulations concluded last week, Pingree is the Democratic candidate in the governor's race, and Dunlap for Maine's 2nd congressional district. This event was Dunlap's first appearance since his victory. Both candidates responded to questions from the audience about what they will do if elected to office come November, and they received confident applause with assertions they would have the backs of laborers.
Working families can't send their kids to college anymore. I talk to people who can't afford homes. How many people don't have any access to retirement? The best security for these things, obviously, is union jobs.
Can find care when they need it, and they can afford it when they do need it. It's also about true respect for Maine workers. I believe public employees deserve a champion in the governor's office.
Laborers in attendance told New CENTER Maine while they were initially backing Democrat Troy Jackson for governor, they are confident that Pingree is the right candidate. Another candidate for governor, Independent Rick Bennett, did not have an event today, but Republican Bobby Charles did. Charles is the GOP's nominee for the November ballot, and he made a challenge to his competitors today, saying, "Do not accept Augusta lobbying money." At the State House, Charles said that he himself will not accept money from Augusta lobbyists, AI data centers, or Central Maine Power, and that he's putting it up to Rick Bennett and Hannah Pingree to do the same.
It is not a difficult decision because I do not answer to Augusta lobbyists. I do not answer to CMP. I answer to one group of people because I am those people. I answer to the people of Maine.
Pingree today called Charles's challenge a distraction from the issues that matter to voters. She said she is not taking private money or funds from CMP. We've reached out to the Bennett campaign multiple times today and have not heard back.